Let me refresh it. Yeah. Yes. So this is an example on drawing die design. Bending, though you are aware, bending may you have to just simply calculate the total length, that is developed length, development, and the bending force. So that is pretty simple. Whereas drawing die design, it is slightly lengthy. So this is an one example which covers most of the drawing design part. This is the numerical. If you want, you can write it down. That is, it has a diameter of 48. So this is a 48. So the value of small d is 48, and height is also 48. So whenever they say height, that means by default you have to take it from the top end to end. That is from here to here, and not from here to this. This is for the depth. This is for the depth of the cup. Height of the cup means from end to end. This is what is your depth of the cup. The corner radius is 2 mm. So by default, if they have mentioned corner radius is 2 mm, then by default it will be inner radius. If they would have given outer radius here, then you will have to subtract the thickness. If this would have been 3, then 3 minus 1, this would have become 2r. And the material is medium carbon steel and 1 mm thickness. So you have to estimate the following thing, that is blank size, percentage. It's not deduction, it's reduction. Percentage reduction. Number of draws required, punch and die radius, die clearance, drawing force, and blank holding force. You have to take the yield strain, that is sigma y, value of sigma y as 427 Newton per millimeter square. Okay, so let's start here. Just have a look on this step by step procedure. Yeah, so this is what is given data is. So first you have to find out the ratio d by r, which helps you to select the model. So now d by r, d is 48, r corner radius is 2. So d by r is 24, which is more than 20. So you have to use the first mathematical model, 107. Now yesterday I told you, now this is your finished size of the blank. Now what happens? You have to keep some allowance for trimming. So that allowance can be taken as 2 mm per side. Here it is taken 3.2, but 2 mm is sufficient. So in this now they have added 3.2. So let us go as per this. Even if you take 2 mm per side, that is also sufficient. So this being round, it will be 2 into 2. Had this been rectangular, a rectangular cup, then it would have been 2, 2, 2, 2 on all the four sides. Okay, so now this is your blank size from which you have to draw the cup. Now what is percentage reduction? So percentage reduction is find out by this relation. What is the diameter, final diameter, draw diameter, and what is the initial diameter? So small d upon capital D is going to give you the drawing ratio. And then 1 minus d upon d will give the percentage reduction, total percentage reduction. So here now it is 58%. 58% is the total reduction. That is from 114, 114, that is मैंने राउंड ऑफ किया 114 से हम लोग 48 तक कर रहे हैं. So 48 upon 114, okay, and then 1 minus this, so that much is going to be the reduction. So 58% is the reduction in the size. Now, as I told you, in how the reductions are possible, that is in the first reduction you have to go 45%, then second 25%, that is 70%, then 20%, and then 10%. So that's how it comes to be 100%. So now we want to total reduction, we want to do 58%. Okay. So obviously 45% in first and 13% in the second draw. So you are going to need 2 draws. It can be also confirmed by this. That is, you take ratio of h by d and 48 upon 48, that is 1. And if you refer the table 4.6 yesterday I showed, so from the table that depending upon this ratio, the number of draws is also given. So if it is 1, 0.7 to 1, it is number of draws is 2. Then punch and die radius. So punch and die radius is taken as this. It is taken as 4 times the blank thickness. So blank thickness is 1. So punch and die radius is going to be 4 mm. Then die clearance. Die clearance is minimum die clearance should be equal to the thickness of the strip. But the correct, because if it is exactly same, then it may not go down. So you have to give little more. So the die clearance is taken as 1.25 times T. That is nothing but 1.25 mm. Then drawing force is given by this relation, pi d into T into sigma T, that is yield strength is given as 427. Capital D upon small d, this is the blank diameter, and minus this is the constant, which is 1.25, which I told yesterday. I will show again today this constant, value of the constant. Just a minute, let me open that. See, here it is that number of draws, table 4.6. Our height to diameter ratio was 1. So that confirms to this. If it is up to height to diameter ratio, if it is up to 0.7, then number of draws is 1. If it is from 0.7 to 1.5, then number of draws will be 2. So our ratio was 1. So that's why number of draws will be 1, 2, sorry. And this can be also confirmed by another relation that I told: 45%, 25%, 20%, and 10%. That is, from percentage reduction also you can estimate the number of draws. Now here, this is the constant, and the value of constant is 0.6 to 0.7. You can average it to 0.65. Either it will be given, or you can take it as 0.65. Remember this C, there is a mistake here. Remember, this C is nothing but a constant, and it is not clearance. Remember, this C is a constant and it is not a clearance. In this particular example, they have done mistake, that is, they have taken it as clearance 1.25. So please make this correction here. And that gives in Newton divided by 3, that will be kilonewton. And if you divide this entire things by 10 raised to 4, then you will get it in tons. Okay, because divide by 10 you will get in kg, and divide by 1000 you will get it in tons. Then blank holding force is 1/3, 1/3 of the drawing force. So that is 24 kilonewton, or it can be 2.4 ton, and here it is 7.2 tons. So if you take factor of safety as 1.5 times, then a hydraulic press of around 10 ton, should be sufficient for this curve. Okay, so here we end with our sheet metal operations. You don't have term work practicals. Otherwise, in term work and practical, usually I take complete progressive die design. So in that you have to do some more calculations, that is, how to fix up the length, width, thickness of the plates, different plates, how to estimate the number of bolts, how to decide the size of the bolts, nuts, how to decide guide pillar, guide bushes. But you can go through the simple die design which I have uploaded, and you can understand it, how the die. Please pay more attention, because this is press tool design, die design is very popularly and commonly used in industry. So you should know that properly. So we'll go to now next module, that is machining. Press tool design itself is a subject which is 50% of the module 3. In module 3 you have rolling forming, that first, and second one is press tool design. So imagine how much you have to study, and this press tool design is the subject itself, a full semester subject. Okay, let me see where is my next topic. Yeah, so model 4 and 5 is mainly machining, conventional machining, unconventional machining, powder metallurgy, etc. etc. So we will start with the lathe first. And why? Because lathe is the mother of all machines. I have shown you various videos also earlier, and these are the different operations which can be performed on lathe machines. This is your capsule and turret lathe. This is your center drilling operation. So this you already shown. This has been already shown. This is chamfering. This is a complete component. Then die is used for external threading. So let's see now what are the different, what is lathe, what are the different lathe operations, etc., etc. This is a threading. This is your taper turning. This is parting of operation. This is your OD turning. This is again a parting of operation. This is a growing operation, and this is filing. All right. So let's go one by one. Capstan and turret is again a type of lathe machine only. So now let's study a lathe. Yeah, what doubt you have? Noah, you are raised a hand.
So by mistake, so by mistake.
It's little less audible. Can you please type it in a chat box, please? Means you are audible, but it is quite low. Hello. Acha, by mistake. ठीक है. No problem. If any help you want, please ask. Do not hesitate. I am there to help you. I am there not to trouble you. Okay. Unfortunately, we are meeting on online, where there will be some network issues, connectivity issues, so that actually deteriorates the teaching. But we'll have to try our best. Anytime you are welcome in the college, we are there in the college. So if you have any doubt, you can always come here. I am available in room number 405. That is on 4th floor, and it's a staff room for production and mechanical engineering department. 405, 4th floor पे. So anytime between 8:30 and 3:30, you can come and meet me in person for any of your doubts. For any of your doubts.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Thank you, Pednagar. Yeah. So let's. क्या हो रहा है? किधर गया presentation? Yeah. This is. So now lathe. So actually, this generation is quite good. I remember my days. I was from vernacular medium, and my English was also not that good. I used to pronounce it as a lathe initially. So it's a lathe machine, and why it is called as the center lathe? It is called as the center lathe because here the component or the workpiece is held between center. Is held between center. That's why it is called as the center lathe. Okay. And lathe is called as the mother of all machines. All machines mean there are shaping machine, grinding machine, milling machine, slotting machine, broaching machine, different machines. So it is called the mother of all machines because whatever operations which can be done on this machine, which I just named it, can be done on lathe machine. And that's why it is called as the mother of all machines. These are the different parts. And in semester exam, this question can be asked, that is sketch and label the different parts of the lathe machine. That is a favorite question. No explanation when it is said that only sketch and label. So you have to sketch and label it. Either lathe or radial drill machine or column and knee type milling machine. So these three you have to do properly. So these are the different parts of the lathe machine, and I don't know, since in the first year uh, you could not visit the college for practical purpose. Physically, you may not have seen this lathe machine, but anytime you are welcome here. Our workshop is open, college is open, faculties are open. Uh, if you want to come in batch in order to comply with the social distancing, you are most welcome. I can take you to the workshop. I will show you whatever facilities we have, whatever machines we have. Remember, this was our workshop was like an industry, like an industry. We were actually giving supplying parts to the industry. We were manufacturing pumps and many components, huh? But because of the pandemic, it was, that luster and that fame has gone. But still, the students, they are coming here for project work, and it is functional and operational. We have two CNC computerized numerical control machine. One is CNC lathe, that is from LMW, Lakshmi Machine Works, Coimbatore, India. Then we have CNC vertical milling machine, that is from BFW, that is Bharat Phase Warner, again India. Control is from Siemens for lathe, and Fanuc 6M for that is from Japan, that is for CNC milling. So those two machines are functional very well. We conduct the training courses for this CNC lathe and CNC milling machine, and we always get a good response for that. I am head for that. I am heading that training department. So we have two peoples exclusively for the training purpose, Mr. Kamle and Mr. Kotian. They are taking care of this machine, and we always get a good response for these two courses, that is operations and programming on CNC lathe and CNC milling. So it's up to you, you can come. So this is how a lathe machine will look like, and this is called as a headstock. Headstock will have different gears, and headstock will give or it will rotate the spindle. This is what is called as the spindle. And how does it get the drive? It gets the drive from the motor. This sketch is drawn from a book called The Workshop Technology by V. Ran. So motor is here. Motor is always a three-phase motor, not a single-phase motor. For the conventional lathe, we employ three-phase AC motor, whereas for the CNC, we use three-phase AC servo motor or DC servo motors or stepper motors. Stepper motor is obsolete, and after stepper motor, the DC motors were used, then DC servo motors, then AC motor, AC induction motor, and nowadays AC servo motors are in use for CNC lathe. So you have a motor here, and then you have a spindle here, this spindle on which this chuck is mounted. So on the spindle we have threading, external threading, and on the chuck we have internal threading, so that chuck can be mounted. And then you have, of course, a locking device which locks the chuck so that during rotation it doesn't comes out. Otherwise the accident will happen. So from the motor, the drive is given either through the belt that was initial in the beginning. Then in the belt drive there is lot of problem of slippage. So the belt drive was replaced by chain drive. Again, in the chain drive, there was a problem of slippage and transmission ratio. So the chain drive was replaced by geared drive. So we have number of gears. So the drivers are mounted on the motor and the drivens are mounted on the spindle. And in between you have idler gears which are transmitting the drive from motor to the chuck spindle. Now this spindle on which the chuck is mounted. Either it can be solid spindle or hollow spindle. Most of the time we go for hollow spindle. The advantage of hollow spindle is you can pass a bar through it. In the hollow spindle you can pass a bar, a solid bar, so you can do a bar work, and the parting of for the bar can be done on the lathe machine itself. Okay, so that is the advantage of hollow spindle lathe machine. Then these are the gear levers. So the headstock is nothing but like a gearbox, what you can see in your car. So you have a 5-speed gearbox plus you have reverse. So similarly you have generally a 9-speed gearbox on conventional lathe machine, whereas in CNC lathe machine it's positively infinitely variable drive, that is called the PIV, positively infinitely variable. The meaning of this, that you will get any speed between 0 and some maximum value. Let's say 0 to 6000, any speed you will get 100.234, you will get 99, you will get 68.5, any value. Whereas over here in 9-speed gearbox, fixed gearbox, you get a fixed speed. You always get a fixed speed. 300, 450, 600, 900, like that. So if you calculate the spindle RPM, suppose if it comes to be say 285.23, that's what is your calculated value, then obviously you have to select the next nearest integer value, that is say 300. So you have gear levers. These are the different levers like you have in car. Whenever you want to engage first, second, third, fourth. So similarly, you can engage the gear levers whenever you want to change the speed. This is a motor lever. This is a start stop lever, as well as it is also used for reversing the direction of the motor shaft, motor output shaft. This is the chuck. Chuck is a device which holds the workpiece. This is what is your workpiece is, a round workpiece. Then you have a coolant supply. The function of the coolant is to cool the workpiece as well as to increase or to improve the life of the cutting tool. That is the purpose of the coolant. Again, in coolant there are different type of coolants. Okay, you can use kerosene only as a coolant. For non-ferrous material. Non-ferrous material means what? You don't have iron in that. No Fe. That is what is called as the non-ferrous. The example of non-ferrous are aluminium. There are aluminium bar, copper round bar. Copper you get a raw materials. Brass, bronze. So these are the non-ferrous. So for non-ferrous cutting, aluminium, copper, we use kerosene. For ferrous, we use coolant. Coolant is nothing but a soluble oil, mineral oil plus water. So as per the manufacturer's guidelines, we mix the water in a particular ratio depending upon the concentration of the coolant oil. You have other coolant like compressed air, that compressed air which also can be used as a coolant. And you have a mist coolant. Mist coolant mein you have air plus kerosene. It's like our aerosol. Aerosol means jo perfumes rehte hai na, you get a spray. So something like that. That is what is called the mist. So the purpose of coolant is to keep your workpiece cool, keep your cutting tool cool, and also the most important is to wipe out the chips. That is the most important function. Then you have tailstock. Tailstock, this is the tailstock body, and this is what is called as the quill, and this is your tailstock center. like tailstock center, we can have one more center here, and the component or the long workpiece can be held between the centers, and that's why it is called as the center lathe. So whenever the machine is dispatched, it is factory set and factory built. Certain parameters are, or most of the parameters, that is what is called the machine setup data or MSD, is built or is factory set. So in that it is ensure that mandrel, a ground mandrel, मतलब grind किया हुआ mandrel is mounted between center, that is this is live center and this is dead center, and it is ensured that this is aligned completely, that is 0 0. There is no up down in this direction, as well as perpendicular to the screen. There is no deviation, so it is aligned perfectly. So you keep a test mandrel here and you put a dial and you just move across the test mandrel, which is generally 300 to 450 long, that is 1 feet to 1.5 feet, and you have to see that there is no deviation, and even if there is a deviation, it should not exceed more than 5 micron, that is 0.005 millimeter. Okay, and then if it is more, then you accordingly do the settings. Okay, alignment setting. So now this tailstock body can be moved along this guideways. These are called the guideways, or this tailstock body can be moved along this guideways, and it is clamped at a particular place, and then this quill can be moved in and out. This in and out movement is required for drilling purpose. As I told, in lathe machine you can do drilling, tapping, shaping, milling, broaching, all the operations, grinding, all operations you can do. So this center drill can be fixed inside this tailstock and it can be moved in and out. So there are two motions here. One is this tailstock body. Okay, you can see this clamp, locking lever. So that is to be unlocked, then move this tailstock body, then clamp at a particular place, and then you can move this quill in and out, and drilling can be purposed. And in order to move this drill in and out, you have a hand wheel. So if you rotate this hand wheel, then this can be moved in and out. Then coming to this front side, this is called as the lathe bed, which is generally made up of cast iron, and it is ground and lapped, so that there is no friction. It's a frictionless, so that you get a very smooth movement of this, which is your saddle. Now you look carefully here. This part is most important. The front portion is a saddle. This is your saddle handle. This is your cross slide. There is a small mistake here. The front portion, what has been named here, that is called as the apron, and this portion which is coming from the top, that is called the saddle. And saddle and apron together, it is called as the carriage. Now this carriage can be moved across this guideways, longitudinally, and that's why it is called the longitudinal feed, and that can be done through this handle. So this is called the carriage hand wheel or handle. Then you have movement. So this movement is done for taper turning, outside diameter turning. Now you have this movement which is perpendicular to the screen. That is what is called the transverse movement. Or it is also called as the cross travel. And this cross travel is associated with the cross slide. and this is the handle. So these handles and handwheels, they are used for manual movement. That is, if you want to do any manually, if you want to move, then these handwheels are used. Now on this cross slide, there is a top slide. Now this top slide is also called as the compound slide. It is called as the compound slide. And this compound slide also can be moved by hand wheel. Compound slide is used when you want to do small amount of taper, small taper turning, small amount of taper. So altogether, you will have three movements over here. One is longitudinal, then cross, and then compound, and plus this tailstock. So four movements. Now you can see these two important shaft. One is called as the feed shaft, and another is called as the lead screw. This is that lead screw. This is ये जो क्रॉस क्रॉस दिख रहा है, that is for the threading. So lead screw is always threaded, whereas feed shaft is plain. Now the purpose of hand wheel is to do cutting manually. But what happens when you do manual cutting? That time you get very rough finish, because manual cutting mein you cannot move the hand wheel smoothly. So if you want a good finish, that is one thing. As well as suppose if you want to reduce the operator fatigue, because when he is doing manually, he has to rotate the handle by hand. So that causes a fatigue. So we engage auto feed. We engage auto feed, automatic feed. And how to engage that automatic feed? So for that, we have feed shaft. Now, as I told you, there is a motor here. From the motor, the drive goes to headstock. And then from the headstock, the drive goes to the spindle, and as well as it goes to the feed shaft. And there is a mechanism to engage this feed shaft to this carriage. So it's like a nut and bolt, and you are familiar with the nut, and it is basically a nut and bolt. Bolt is nothing but the feed shaft, and nut is nothing but the carriage. So like suppose if the bolt is rotating, and if you hold the nut stationary, that is, if you don't allow nut to rotate along with the bolt, then nut will slide on the bolt, and vice versa. So same concept here. Bolt is nothing but the feed shaft which is rotating, and carriage is obviously not rotating. So the carriage has to move longitudinally. So like this feed shaft, you have another feed rod on which this handwheel is fitted. So you can get auto feed in longitudinal direction, as well as you can get auto feed in cross direction. So for that you have few more levers which are provided on front of this. So you have to engage and disengage for auto feed. Now what is the use of lead screw? Lead screw is used for threading purpose. So whenever you want to do threading, that time you have to engage or disengage the lead screw. So this is just explanation about the center lathe, that it is used to manufacture cylinder. And most important, I forgot to tell you that in case of lathe, the workpiece is rotating and the tool, cutting tool, is stationary. It is not rotating. It will move longitudinal or cross. Whereas in case of milling, the workpiece is stationary and your tool is rotating. That is the difference, basic difference between lathe and milling machine. Automatic lathes are your CNC lathe. तो ये क्रॉस स्लाइड है, लेट टूल है, दिस इज all these parts I have explained you. Just have a look on this diagram. Okay. This is the lathe bed on which your carriage moves longitudinally, and generally lathe bed is made out of cast iron, and these are called the slideways. So your headstock, your saddle, your tailstock, your carriage, all these are mounted on this. So you can understand the importance of lathe bed. So it should be very precise. It has to be machined properly. Mm. It should be strong enough. It should be able to take the vibrations, and there should not be any friction while the carriage tailstock is moved. So that's why they are ground and lap. It is cast, and it's a big castings basically, 6 feet, 20 feet, 80 feet, like that. Means like 20 feet, 30 feet lathes machines will be like combination of 2 flats or 3 flats, and those lathe machines are called the roll turning lathes, which are available in Air India, in textile mills, workshops. So this particular shape is given so that one slideway is used for tailstock, another slideway is used for the saddle. As I told you, the top portion is called as the saddle, and it has to move without any friction. So that's why it is called as that is, there should not be any sticking. They should not stick, and that's why it is called as this stick free motion. This is how your headstock will look, and this is what is there inside the headstock. Probably this is the motor shaft and this is your spindle shaft, and the drive goes from here to here through the gearing. And as I said, spindle can be solid or spindle can be hollow. This is your tailstock, which is having a drill chuck in which the drill is held, or if the drills are bigger, then they can be directly mounted or inserted inside the tailstock. Just have a look on this. I have explained this already. This is what is called as the carriage. So carriage means it is saddle, which is top portion, and apron. So saddle plus, this is a correct diagram. So saddle plus apron, they are called as the carriage. This is a top slide or compound slide. This is your cross slide hand wheel, which is used for moving to and fro, and compound slide is used for moving taper. So this is a compound slide, top slide, which is used for doing the taper turning operation. Pit stop is used for automatic engagement, and lead screw is for threading. We will continue this in the next class. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, welcome.